Good evening. I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Wendell Town Board of Commissioners. Welcome. We're happy to have all of you here with us tonight. We're going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Police Chief Bill Carter.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chief. For our invocation tonight through the Wendell Council of Churches, we're going to hear from Covenant Presbyterian Church Reverend Richard McDuffie. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Glad to be here. And this place looks brand new.
It is.
So I'm enjoying the newness of it with you. It's still got that new municipal building smell.
It does have a new building
Right.
smell, for sure.
That's right. Good to be with you all tonight. I am pastor at the Covenant Presbyterian Church, which is right over yonder, 125 South Selma Road. We're on the way out of town before you get to the Catholic Church on the left, and I've just come from a meeting with our elders where I'm trying to get them to cut down some of those trees and bushes so you can see us better. I told them we had to make a decision about what we were here to do, whether it was to hide or let our light shine. So you can pray for us and pray for me for making those bold statements along the way. I'm glad to be with you tonight and looking forward to sharing a prayer with you. Proverbs chapter 3 tells us to trust in the Lord with all of our heart and to lean not on our own understanding, in all our ways to acknowledge him, and he will direct our paths. And I think that's true in all of our meetings, whether they're Presbyterian or Pentecostal or non-denominational meetings or what have you, if we give our way to the Lord, and he will show us what to do. So let's pray together. Lord, thank you for this time, for this moment, for these opportunities that are before us. And I thank you for these servant leaders, people elected and appointed to serve you. We're here for that purpose, and we know that there is no higher calling than to give our lives in service to others. So we ask you, Lord, to direct our paths, our service, and to show us how we might best lay down our lives for others. We thank you, Lord, for opportunities that are before us. We thank you for the new people that you are sending our way here in the town of Wendell and in the Eastern Wake community. And we pray, Lord, that you would open our hearts and our minds to new folks, that you would show us how to include and to accept others and to love them with the love that you have for us. We ask, Lord, finally, that you would help us to be willing and have the strength to do the harder right instead of the easier wrong. Thank you for this day, for this moment, for these opportunities, and thank you for your love. Help us to share it with one another and with this community. We pray it in Christ's name. Amen.
Thank you. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
All right. We have a motion to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
For public comment period, the public can participate in public comment period by signing up the night of the meeting right here as you're on your way in. You have 3 minutes to speak, or by submitting written statements via email to the town clerk by 5 p.m. on the Friday prior to our Monday meeting, and that will be read into the record for the length of 3 minutes. We have 2 people signed up tonight. The first is Jackie Perry. Come right up to the podium and give me your name and address.
Sure. My name is Jackie Perry, and I live at 602 Marshburn Road here in Wendell.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay, so be patient with me because I'm going to read, and I'm going to try and read in complete sentences. My name is Jackie Perry, and I've been a resident of the town of Wendell for the past 32 years. I've come to this meeting tonight to express my concern for the traffic and parking on Poplar Street. As a solution, I would like to propose for the addition of 3 speed bumps and 6 parking signs to be installed on Poplar Street. Poplar Street is a frequently used shortcut to downtown and Wendell Elementary. It is also the main access to the Wendell Rams football field. As a corner resident of Marshburn and Poplar, the speed and the quantity of traffic observed daily is very concerning. In addition, event parking often is not, wait a minute, hold on just a sec. Event parking often, if not always, overflows from the field parking lot up and down Poplar Street, mainly on one side being totally filled up, making a two-way road into one-way, which is deeply concerning when you have traffic going 2 ways but only have 1 lane open. Okay, Poplar Street, I live on Poplar and Marshburn, the corner, and installing speed bumps and humps have shown to cause a 40% reduction in speed, helping to prevent speed-related accidents. Additionally, according to the National Institute of Health, speed bumps and humps have also led to 53% to 60% reduction in the odds of automobile injury or death among children. During the night, visibility is limited, and children and families are walking to their parked cars on Poplar Street, and they're in danger of being hit. Installing no parking signs along the road would prevent low-lit pedestrian traffic and reduce congestion. The average speed bump cost about $1,000 to $2,000. This could easily help prevent potential serious injury to the numerous children, athletes, and families who utilize Poplar Street. We do not need to wait until an accident happens to take action. I support the football team, would like to find a solution for everyone to safely use Poplar Street and to enjoy the games and the practices. Thank you.
Second person signed up is Roger Peterson.
Thank you. Roger Peterson, I live at 4490 Wendell Boulevard here in Wendell. I'm the Executive Director of the Wendell Chamber of Commerce, and I know you hear it a lot, especially in these Monday nights, but I want to say thank you. Thank you to all of you individually and collectively as a group of our elected officials on the board, and also to our town staff. The Wendell Harvest Festival Saturday, I think, was a wonderful success and a great day for our town. I know I saw all of you there in some capacity, volunteering, sponsoring, eating nachos and devouring the competition. Commissioner Joyner, well done. So thank you for your individual support. And in the support of the town, in order for us to pull this event off is critical. And that includes, of course, the town staff, the Department of Public Works, and the police department especially. We were out there for long hours, first planning, and then obviously the day of. So thank you, Brian. Thanks, Chief, for the support of your teams. They were absolutely wonderful, and we certainly are rightfully proud of those organizations and the rest of the town staff, Mark, that contributed. So thank you. I'm just here to say thank you.
We thank you all and appreciate everything that you did, and can't wait until the 96th comes next year.
I'm taking a week off,
Get
but
busy.
yes, ma'am.
Get started.
We will.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
All right, all in favor? All right, we'll move into section 4, recognitions, reports, and presentations. And the first is item 4A, a proclamation recognizing October 2023 as Community Planning Month in the town of Wendell. Let's see. We like to celebrate our folks around here, so we wanted to recognize our planning staff, and also our residents that serve on our planning board. Wanted to remember them as well, and thank them for how they're helping our area grow and develop. So, whereas change is constant and affects all cities, towns, suburbs, counties, boroughs, townships, rural areas, and other places, and whereas community planning and plans can help manage this change in a way that provides better choices for how people work and live, and whereas community planning provides an opportunity for all residents to be meaningfully involved in making choices that determine the future of their community. And whereas the full benefits of planning requires public officials and citizens who understand, support, and demand excellence in planning and plan implementation. And whereas the month of October is designated as National Community Planning Month throughout the United States of America. And whereas the American Planning Association endorses National Community Planning Month as an opportunity to highlight how planning is essential to recovery and how planners can lead communities to equitable, resilient, and long-lasting recovery. And whereas the celebration of National Community Planning Month gives us the opportunity to publicly recognize the participation and dedication of the members of planning commissions and other citizen planners who have contributed their time and expertise to the improvement of the town of Wendell. And whereas we recognize the many valuable contributions made by the professional community and regional planners of the town of Wendell, and extend our heartfelt thanks for the continued commitment to public service by these professionals. Now, therefore, on behalf of the Wendell Town Board of Commissioners, I, Virginia Gray, Mayor of the town of Wendell, do hereby designate the month of October 2023 as Community Planning Month in the town of Wendell in conjunction with the celebration of National Community Planning Month, duly proclaimed this the 9th day of October 2023, and it's signed by me. So I wanted to thank you all for everything that you do for us here in Wendell,
You're welcome.
you and your staff.
Thank you. Very fortunate. We have a great dedicated staff. They enjoy their job. Planning board that spends a lot of hours reviewing plans as well. I'd like to thank them. I think planning on, just to highlight one thing on Saturday, thankful for the residents who stopped by and gave us amazing feedback on Buffalo Creek Greenway and all the other projects we're working on. So really rewarding in October especially.
Isn't it nice how
Yeah.
the community's gotten so engaged?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Nice. It is, it's really great.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think we have to.
we all do what they tell us. Item 4B is a proclamation recognizing October 8th through 14th, 2023 as Fire Prevention Week in the town of Wendell. So if you can come up here, Chief Staples. Whereas the town of Wendell is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting our town, and whereas fire, is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at the greatest risk from fire. And whereas home fires killed more than 2,800 people in the United States in 2021, according to the National Fire Protection Association, and fire departments in the United States responded to 338,000 home fires. And whereas cooking is the leading cause of home fires in the United States, and fire departments responded to more than 166,400 annually between 2016 and 2020. And whereas 2 of every 5 home fires started in the kitchen, with 31% of those fires resulting from unattended cooking, and more than half of reported non-fatal home cooking fire injuries occurred when the victims tried to fight the fire themselves. Whereas children under 5 face a higher risk of non-fire burns associated with the cooking than being burned in a cooking fire, and whereas the town of Wendell's residents should turn pot handles towards the back of the stove, always keep a lid nearby when cooking, keep a 3-foot kid-free zone around the stove, oven, and other things that could get hot, watch what they heat, and set a timer to remind them that they are cooking. And whereas residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire, and whereas working smoke alarms cut the risk of dying in a reported home fire almost in half, and whereas the 2023 Fire Prevention Week theme, Cooking Safety Starts With You, Pay Attention to fire prevention, effectively serves to remind us to stay alert and use caution when cooking to reduce the risk of kitchen fires. Now therefore let it be proclaimed by the Honorable Mayor and Town Board of the Town of Wendell that October 8th through 14th, 2023 be recognized as Fire Prevention Week in Wendell. Duly proclaimed this the 7th day of October, 2023, and it's signed by me. So we just wanted to have you here to present this to you and to thank you for all that you do for the citizens of Wendell and all of the education that you do for the citizens of Wendell. I know that y'all do a lot of outreach and education and things to help keep us safe, and we really appreciate it. I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you for having us here. And
Yes.
just the whole month of October for us is fire prevention, so we're busy this month. And also, as the proclamation mentioned, we still have smoke detectors, so people that live in our district, give us a call, and we'll be glad to go out
They
and
will-
install them. We want
They
everybody to
will
have working
come.
smoke detectors.
Yes, free of charge, I believe, and
Absolutely.
install smoke detectors. I think that's outstanding. So I think they want a picture. All right, we don't have any public hearings scheduled for tonight, so we'll move into our administrative items. Item 6A is a report on community funding area. It's an update on community funding area program application for the continuation of microtransit.
Good evening, Mayor and board members. I'm excited to be here before you tonight to talk about microtransit. It is awesome when projects line up with the strategic plan and our community blueprint Wendell 2030. So just to go over some high-level priorities, goal 3 of your strategic plan, infrastructure, transportation, and the environment. The top priority was work with regional partners to promote mobility options, such as continuation of the Go Wake microtransit service and implementing the regional bus plan. Blueprint Wendell certainly has quite a bit of reference to mobility and moving people around our community and connecting to others. So there are multiple goals in Blueprint Wendell related to tonight's item as well. Current service, some of these slides are created using some Wake County data and slides that they provided. We have been meeting with them often in the last month to go over data and the program and where things can head. Current service is within that green boundary, includes Wendell, Zebulon, Rollsville, our ETJs as well, and portions of the county jurisdiction in between us. It also includes a node over to Knightdale to connect with the Route 33 bus service that exists in Knightdale mostly along Knightdale Boulevard and in portions of Knightdale. The service was created and provides trips within that green boundary. So if you're, let's say, a Wendell resident and you want to go to Walmart in Zebulon, you can call on this service and you can get a ride over to that and then a trip back home. If you live in Zebulon, you could also get a ride to like the senior center in Wendell and vice versa. This service does not provide trips to downtown Raleigh or Wake Med facilities in Raleigh or outside of that green boundary. And so current service, it's a county-run program, was funded by Federal Transit Administration, otherwise known as FTA, their Integrated Mobility Innovation Grant Program, and also has used some designated transit funding from Wake County Transit. The service is funded through June 30th, 2024. It started off as a pilot program. They were not sure how the service would be perceived, how many people would use the service. So in fiscal year 23, which just ended June 30th of 2023, There were roughly 13,912 completed trips in that green area, which is almost 2,000 more than the Go Wake Access service, which has existed for many years, which is primarily known as the paratransit service. Serves people going to doctor's offices, serves Medicaid trips and things like that. But this service outpaced that in fiscal year '23. So it's being utilized. People are using it to get to all kinds of places, and we'll go over some details of the trips. But that program in that fiscal year '23 provided more trips. So roughly in that green area between the two programs was a roughly almost 27,000 trips. So from a county, they're very excited of the rides for the microtransit and in the future of the program.
Brian, do you want questions when you're done? I've got one, but I can wait until you're done.
Yeah, I may be able to answer some of your questions ahead of time based on the slides, but we'll go over a few.
Thank you.
Yep, trip details. So this is details on the service. Right now, the average trip length is about 2.68 miles per trip. So the residents, it's not a lengthy trip, they're short trips, which this service was intended to serve customers to get to grocery store, doctor's appointments, church, senior center, and other kind of town or region-wide programs. The average wait time for when you book a ride is 20 minutes. So if you got on your phone, booked a trip from, let's say, the rec center, and you wanted to go to the senior center, it's about a 20-minute wait before that van comes, picks you up, and takes you to your destination. The rider time is roughly 15 minutes. The average cost for the service to function is $19. There is no fee for the actual customer. Wake County did not charge any fees for that. But to provide transit for $19 a trip, I know that's a lower microtransit cost than some of the other programs in the region that are operating microtransit as well. Unfortunately, the service is utilized greatly, so there were unfulfilled trips of 1,500. Those are trips where someone has requested a ride and the vans are already being used or already have trips booked, and so there are trips that were unfulfilled in this last fiscal year. Key to note, 51% of the trips are shared rides. So for example, if there are two people at the senior center and one wants to go to Food Lion and one wants to go home in Wendell Falls, they could be in the same bus or van. Passenger gets out at Food Lion, the next passenger goes to their home. That's a shared trip. That shared trips actually keep the cost down, and so you want to have a high utilization of shared rides and trips. These are maps provided by Wake County that show the origin, where trips start, and where trips the destination. You can see Wendell and Zebulon. Those high red areas are a concentration of trips. So they're starting in our jurisdiction or the county's jurisdiction. And we'll go over town by town some numbers of who's utilizing the service. You can see outside of the Route 33 in Knightdale, there isn't trips in Knightdale because the system won't take you there. So the geofence boundary is part of the technology. This was from the start of the program in March 2022 through the end of June of 2023. This is trip origins. Roughly out of those 14,000 trips, 4,900 started in Wake County's jurisdiction. Almost 4,300 started in Zebulon's municipal boundaries. 2,500 started on our city limits. 65 in Rollsville and 113 in Knightdale. And then there's the ETJ trips as well. So those are just where trips started. Destination, we have a detail of destination. It's not a whole lot different than where they started. as well. But so the service is being utilized by Wake County residents, Zebulon residents, Wendell, a few in Rollsville, and we'll go over that in a minute, and then a few in Knightdale, even though that service basically is only along the Route 33 route to get them to that bus system. Top 5 trip starts or destination. Walmart is the top starter end of a trip, roughly 2,500 total. And then the next second highest is the shopping center next to Walmart and Zebulon. Those are the two facilities that receive the most starts or ends to trips. East Wake High is third with roughly 1,800 trips. The West Gannon Shopping Center is where Carly C's is located in Zebulon near on 97. And then the East Wake Senior Center is the 5th highest utilized site with roughly 675 trips. So geographically, you can see the Zebulon's amount of trips and then the top locations align with that. The data information, so Wake County was using a platform via Uber, and then they rebid the services and are going with EcoLane, which to that service. A few reasons they chose EcoLane was one, it provides more detailed data on the passengers, which can be helpful when you're planning these services. And also, I think from what they mentioned, Uber it's not a priority service for them, microtransit. They're focusing on some other things. So EcoLane is the new service. It started, I think, September 1, and it was on their website. And so customers had to switch out of the Uber app to an EcoLane app or continue calling for rides as well. It is key to note, East Wake High, the shared rides coming out of there was over 70%. So the students are using it as a shared service to go places, which can benefit the system. It also can, there can be some, when shared rides include a variety of residents, they may not want to ride together at times. So seniors may want peaceful on their trip, and you got students who are very active and they're excited, school's out for the day and they're ready to go grab lunch or dinner someplace. And so there were some survey results that showed some people just don't love that it's always potentially having shared, that they don't get to pick who they're riding with. So some pros and cons to the service, but overall destination, it is great to see the seniors using it. I know we heard probably for the last, I know the 4 years I've been here, but previously when I worked for Wake County, service, getting the seniors to places around town has always been a priority, and getting people to the senior center that may not live close by as well. Some fiscal year 25 potential changes. Rollsville, which if you remember on that map, Rollsville residents couldn't get to Wake Forest. The service didn't allow that to occur. Rollsville as a community is really focused towards Wake Forest and Raleigh. They're not creating a lot of trips to Wendell or Zebulon and vice versa. So Rollsville is going to join with Wake Forest and City of Raleigh in creating their own micro transit to serve that northeast part of Raleigh, Rollsville, and Wake Forest. Knightdale has expressed interest in joining with Wendell, Zebulon, and Wake County. And so we've been working, we've had a few meetings working together to see what that geographical area could look like and update the program. Wake County is applying for some transit service using microtransit type vans in this program to serve East Wake High and Knightdale High students who are dual enrolled at Wake Tech. The challenge is getting them there in the afternoon, getting them home when their classes are done early evening. So they are applying for some NCDOT funding to pilot that portion of the program. County's also looking at expanding service hours during the week. Right now, it's just a Monday through Friday. They're thinking about adding some weekend hours, which I think would really benefit residents. The Go Wake access is really for medical appointments. This service can serve groceries, church, library, your day-to-day needs. and having weekends. We continually hear that from residents that want to go places on a Saturday or Sunday, but they're limited. So those are kind of some potential changes for fiscal year '25 for the program. Community area funding was set up when Wake County approved the transit plan. It's one of the 4 big moves in the plan, beyond BRT and commuter rail and expanding regional bus service. This program was set up for the municipalities in green on that map. So Raleigh, Cary, and Wake County cannot apply for this funding. It is geared towards the towns. We are eligible to apply. It is to create transit service and enhance the service in the towns in green. Moving forward, it can be used for planning funds, it can be used for capital operating or combining capital and operating transit projects. A few other towns have used this funding for, Wake Forest is utilizing it to add to their circulator. Morrisville has a micro-transit service that was partially funded through these funds. And so our goal is to apply for this funding for operational to continue microtransit beyond June 30th of 2024. The program does require a 50% match. Town of Wendell, from previous conversations, we are taking the lead and being the lead applicant with Wake County, Zebulon, and Knightdale as our partners to apply for operational funds to continue this service for the foreseeable future. The Community Funding Area Program has training in late October that we're scheduling with Campo. All the municipalities are participating, Wake County, Zebulon, and Knightdale. Applications are due January 5th. The estimated right now from Wake County, and there's still some unknowns, the cost for fiscal year '25 to operate the service is $400,000. So the 50% match would need to be $200,000. In kind can be part of that. And so we are having discussions with Wake County if they provide fuel for the service. How much does that count towards the 50% match? Just basic math, if we split things 4 ways, is it $50,000 a piece? And so there's lots of options. We're gonna explore, continue exploring between now and really kind of mid-December to nail down what the funding request will look like and where some matches will come from. Applications, as I said, due January 5th. We will be the lead applicant. TPAC will recommend projects in April of '24, so we'll know before our budget is finalized for fiscal year '25. Funding would begin July 1, 2024. The microtransit type programs have been funded for operational funds, using transit funds, and it is a request and would continue the program for the foreseeable future. I can field any questions you may have. We're excited for this service to continue. Wendell residents are using it, but also residents in the county's jurisdiction and our neighboring towns as well.
I know a lot of kids from East Wake High School use it to get home after sport practices in the afternoon when they don't have so they can participate in after-school activities. I think that's important.
Yep.
And with the taking on with Wake Tech, that's another layer of that, so that's important as well. Any questions or comments from the board?
I got a couple. In one of your early slides where you compared the Go Wake Access ride numbers to the Smart Ride numbers, is the Go Wake Access number that you had there, 12,000 something, is that just within the Smart Ride area, or is
It
that?
is,
Okay.
yep.
The additional future possible dual enrollment transit from Knightdale and East Wake to Wake Tech, is that envisioned as being part of this or sort of a separate component that is similar? And the reason I'm asking is just thinking about those unfulfilled trips. What's the reliability? Obviously, that's like the key there is making sure that kids are getting there every single day and never having a day that they can't get the ride to come get them.
Yeah, so Wake County is working with Wake Tech on potentially numbers of students that would be dual enrolled from each high school. Potentially applying for funding to add a vehicle, and maybe it's dedicated during certain times for those students. So right now, it's potentially a separate chunk of money that could explore what that would mean and do the students need that service? So it's more of a pilot function for that portion. It could be rolled into this service depending on where things go. But right now, they would be applying for separate funds for that service within this geography, though. The challenge is they ran data on the students going to and from East Wake High. The trips are longer because the students come from a larger geographic area. So if a van, let's say, our trips are 2.68 miles, I think the trips for the students are 6 miles. So they're longer, so they take up more time in the service. So you got to plan for that. But if there are, a variety of students in Wendell at 7 o'clock on a Thursday are done with their class at Wake Tech, could one van drop off a variety of students in locations? So they're kind of working with Wake Tech and the schools and trying for that.
That would be my only concern, or twofold, two sides of the same concern. Making sure that it's reliable enough for it to be useful for students, but also ensuring that it doesn't undermine the rest of the service for the region just to provide that one particular service.
And one thing they are working with the students on is one student, let's say, will book a trip, and when the small bus gets there, there's 12 students who want to get in. And so they're working on in the app to make adjustments that you need to tell us how many students, you need to have an account. And so they know a little more detail, because there were times when they went to the high school and there was way more students waiting than could fit in the van. And so they're working on logistics, but it kind of was an unexpected usage customer that they thought there was a potential for students to use it, but they really embraced the technology and where they could go mobility-wise throughout the region.
Couple more quick ones. How many vehicles, is this one vehicle currently?
No,
Or
there's
how many
4.
are there? Okay. That's just when you mentioned potentially adding an additional for that. I was curious about how many. And then finally, I heard, just sounds like this maybe is not accurate information, but that any community funding area program funds would not be available until October of 2024. Is it your understanding that they would begin on July 1st?
Yeah, I think Campo's website, I think it says kickoff would begin July 1 for the new funding projects, which this project already knows what ridership will be in program, so we are anticipating July 1, 2024.
Now, I had heard that there was a possible concern about a gap between July and October, the ending of the current funding and the beginning of new. So just, if you don't mind, just make sure that
Yep.
if that is an additional piece that we need to pay attention to or try to help address. Yeah.
Okay.
I should have begun with, I think this is great, and thank y'all for stepping into the leadership role, letting, the town being the lead applicant. Appreciate staff's
Yep.
willingness to embrace the concept. I just think it's a really important forward-looking way to provide transit that's a lot more affordable and a lot more effective than trying to build fixed route service all over a region that just doesn't have the level of density to support it. So I think it's a great thing. I hope we keep doing it.
I included it in one of my conversations with the principal at Eastway High School when it was first getting started, and he passed that information along, so this may be my fault. But I think it's a good thing that those kids are getting to have opportunities that they might not have had otherwise, and that they're taking advantage of it, so it's kind of funny to me.
I will add also that it was nice to see the senior center in the top 5. I know that I've run into you at the senior center multiple occasions personally, and so thank you and thank staff for that. It's been a message that I've sent out numerous times to make sure that they understand, because that's one of the objections a lot of times we hear about the senior center is, lack of transportation. So this program has really been beneficial, I think. And so to see him in the top 5, that was really cool. So thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, anyone else? Yep.
I'm assuming all of these numbers are built off the operational cost over the last 2 years or 3 years. And so that's, I generally find that public transit is a beautiful thing, and we can dial it up, and then typically about the time we dial it up, something in the system changes, and we don't respond quickly. And we end up with a service, in my opinion, a lot of times that is underutilized, and then that becomes the negative about, people talk about, well, no one rides the R line in downtown Raleigh, it just rides around all day. I have a fear that we have built 2 years' worth of data, or 3 years' worth of data while using the most popular, easy-to-use, most commercially known ride-sharing service a service that literally got rid of an entire industry of cabs. And then right at the time we're about to take over the finances of it, we're like, and I understand that there's data and there's reasons why that change happened. I would just say that I think I just downloaded EcoLane. I'm gonna try to figure out how to create an account and go through that. But we obviously need to spend some time educating the public on EcoLane if we want this to be as successful as it has been to this point. Because we have to I think you're right, once a student knows how to use the app, that it won't, but we have to go tell them.
There's also the phone number. You can call on the phone number. And can you reserve ahead of time, do a week ahead?
Yes.
One time,
Yep.
you can schedule out when you know you have a doctor's appointment. You can call or whatever your need might be, so, okay.
I had
Phone
finally
number, I
gotten to
think,
the point
helps.
where I could explain to someone over the phone how to get a ride on Uber, where to go in the Uber app, where to go in Spot. So I just need to learn that for this new technology.
I give them the phone number. That gets them going, gets them started.
And we will in December get the latest quarter for fiscal year '24 from Wake County on ridership and data. So we'll have that before we apply in January as well. So I can give you an update in probably December on data and ridership, because it has been increasing every quarter. And the last quarter of fiscal '23, the students were not in school at that time, and so fall kicks back in, and but we can certainly get the data and share that with you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Moving to our other business, the first is Commissioner Eatman, Campo.
Commissioner Deloach actually sat in for me at our last meeting, so I'm gonna kick this one to him.
Commissioner Deloach.
Did, Madam Mayor. Happy to attend, obviously in Commissioner Eatman's absence. Fairly short meeting, a handful of informational presentations. There were some dates and some deadlines discussed and created. And the next meeting will be October the 18th. So we will have a follow-up after that meeting as well.
Thank you. And the Wendell Volunteer Fire Department, I believe there was a change. Commissioner Joyner? Do you want-
Yes, ma'am, and that meeting's been postponed.
Okay, so we'll hear from that whenever it happens. All right, we'll start with our comments. Commissioner Joyner?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Certainly want to thank our staff and the Chamber of Commerce staff and volunteers for an amazing Harvest Festival. The weather was perfect. The day was great. And I'm certainly happy to be the 2023 Nacho Eating Champion. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, congratulations on that. Commissioner Lutz?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'll echo the thanks from Commissioner Joyner. It was a good day.
Okay, Commissioner Eatman?
Awesome Harvest Festival, everybody who put it on, especially town staff. Really appreciate y'all's commitment to be there.
Commissioner Deloach?
I guess I'll say the exact same thing. I was fortunate enough to be the MC for the day's festivities on stage. So thank you for the privilege. Thank you to the Chamber for that. So I got to thank town staff throughout the day. So that was cool. Got to see everybody, lots of smiles, high fives, fist bumps. Took requests from kids. So, our youngest is 20 years old now, so I learned lots of cool new kids songs that I did not know previously. So, October 5th, 2024, go ahead and get it on your calendar, the 96th Annual Wendell Harvest Festival. Thank you.
Okay. And I guess 5 times is a charm. The Harvest Festival was great. We sure appreciate what the Chamber did and town staff, the role they play. I tell people all the time it's a support role, but it's a big support role. So thank you all for everything that you did towards that. I want to tell you a little bit, we're about to wrap up the tree planting for Arbor Day. So Arbor Day's in the spring here, but the trees get planted in the fall. And we've done, so far, 4 local schools, and we're going to be wrapping up at Carver later on this week. It's always fun to be there, have a great time with all the kids. They love to dig the hole, and I'm sure if they were supposed to do it at home, they wouldn't want to dig a hole and plant a tree and do those kinds of tasks, but they love it when they're doing it at school. So it's a lot of fun. They say a lot of funny things, a lot of cute things. We play some games with them about trees and wood and forestry and conservation and stuff. It's always a lot of fun. And I want to thank Philip Smith and the tree board again. I do every year because he does a fantastic job, and the trees are beautiful, and there'll be something those kids can look back on someday and remember that special year that their class got to plant a tree with the town of Wendell. So that's nice. Let's see. Quick reminder, Wednesday, October 18th, here, there's going to be a Lake Myra County Park information session. We're getting a lot of parks from Wake County lately, and we sure appreciate all of them. Getting a lot of attention, a lot of focus in this part of the county. And there's another one coming. So if you have some questions or you'd like some information about the most current that's coming, Lake Myra County Park, come to that. It's going to be from 4 to 7. I don't know if I said that or not. The last Meet on Main for the year is coming up. It's going to be Friday, October 20th. The music starts at, I think, around 6. The event at 5. This year, this last one's going to be the Stone Age Romeos with our very own Kevin Bedingfield. He's a homegrown guy. Food trucks, kids area, lots of food and fun and fellowship and friends. So come out and join us for that. It's always a fun night. Let me see if I had anything else. Oh, and then real quickly, Miss Perry, her question, if someone could please get some contact information from her. We're doing a lot of traffic calming right now in the area, and I'm sure someone will be happy to talk to you about some options in your area to address your concerns. Now, we're going in closed session, so do we have a motion to go in closed session?
Madam Mayor, I move we go into closed session, reference North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A6.
All in favor?
Aye.